You Don't Know Ball, episode 9. We are back here. We're going to be talking some college football today. So, we're going to be hopefully getting 2 episodes out for you guys this week, one college football, one NFL. But this is low key. We were just talking about a sneakily stacked slate. I know we had a pretty fire slate 2 weeks ago, but looking at the SEC matchups, and even we got the Big Ten matchup between Oregon and Indiana and a couple other ones like Ohio State and Illinois, along with USC, Michigan. So there's a lot of good games this weekend. That's why we wanted to do a college football specific one. Today, we are joined by our guest, Matt, here. He is an SEC truther, as he likes to say, also is a Wisconsin alum. So he knows some Big Ten ball. Matt, why don't you give a quick 15, 20-second intro about yourself? Tell the viewers who you are.
Yeah, you covered it. Wisconsin alum. They were, great before I got there. Last 4 years disappointed me. Switched my fandom over to the SEC. Love what I see any given Saturday there. You could see it all. So yeah, I'm a Bama fan, but I think the best teams are in the SEC. Obviously, OSU and Michigan have defeated that claim the past couple of years, but I love the SEC. I think they bring the best players, best coaches week in, week out, and love what I see out of them. But still got to give love to my Badgers when they show up.
Yeah, of course. I mean, SEC ball, I mean, it seemed like they were the most dominant conference for a while, but we were talking on the other episode as well. I feel like the gap between the SEC and the ACC and even the Big 12 this year, it's starting to shrink a little bit. Obviously, the Big 10 too, but so it's not as wide. I mean, obviously they're
Yeah,
pulling all the talent from the South, obviously into the SEC schools, but the talent gap is shrinking, which you love to see as a college football fan. I wonder if that
yeah.
plays into getting rid of the Pac-12. I think that does play a huge factor. Um, but anyways, yeah. So Matt is also probably the only actual Alabama fan I know. I mean, you see a lot of the Alabama guys on Twitter and all their burner accounts, but here we got a real life Bama fan. So it's good to know.
Yeah.
And honestly, speaking about Bama, when we look at the slate, look at the big noon game. We got Ohio State, Illinois, and then we got Alabama, Missouri at noon on ABC. That's going to be a very interesting game for the SEC purposes. I mean, Alabama's riding 2 high-ranked wins after that brutal opening loss to Florida State. How are they going to do going on the road to Missouri? Thing to highlight for me in the Alabama Missouri matchup is Missouri is arguably the best running football team in the country, let alone the SEC. Their running back Ahmad Hardy is a monster, especially after contact. Like, I don't know the stats on the actual what his rushing yards per contact is, but like, dude, they've been running the ball. They got a great offensive line that's creating a monster holes. So Alabama, who's aren't they've kind of struggled on the run, right? Like Florida State, we talked about. Georgia
Yep.
ran the ball a little bit over them. You saw last week, Vanderbilt had, I mean, Vanderbilt was playing from behind a lot and they couldn't really get things going. So, but like you look at Georgia, you look at Florida State, they were running the ball well. I believe they were averaging over 5, 7 yards per carry on Bama. So now they're about to face this tough Missouri team. I know they got some injuries in the front seven as well. So like off the bat, is Alabama in trouble? What are the keys to them on defense in your opinion? Like what are you expecting from the matchup here?
Uh, I mean, you kind of covered it. A great outside zone scheme coming in from Mizzou. Ahmad Hardy, I think, could be top running back in the country. Definitely top five for sure. It's going to be interesting. I think there's a few things that kind of lean Bama's way, but I mean, obviously, Bama only -3. That's not something you'd like to see going on the road into a tough SEC environment. Um, I think honestly, Mizzou hasn't lost at home since 2022. That's something scary to think about.
Jeez. Yeah.
Um, Georgia, obviously, they ended Georgia's home win streak, but you don't just not lose a game at home. And going into Mizzou, that's going to be a tough game to play.
Have you
Stuff
been to
that
Mizzou, by the way? Have you been there?
no, I
Okay.
haven't. But I mean, I've seen some tough games played at Mizzou, and yeah, I mean, you just don't go into Mizzou and get a win. That's just the thing that keeps popping up as I'm seeing on Twitter, and it's scary to think about as a Bama fan, and it does make me nervous. There's a bunch of things that I'm gonna rifle off here, like both ways.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those games where it's gonna be back and forth, fourth quarter, and it's gonna come down to game-winning field goal either way. It's just one of those games. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout either way, and it's gonna be close. But I mean, like you said, they got that outside zone run scheme, and they've struggled Alabama against the run, against Florida State, against Georgia, and they just haven't been fitting the run well. I think their cornerbacks really haven't been stepping up in the run fits. And, Damani Jackson has been called out multiple times in the run fits, just not stepping up, coming down to make the play. And I think, Eli Drinkwitz is going to get, those one-on-one matchups involved on the corners. And I wouldn't be shocked if Damani Jackson gets pulled early and you see more Cam Calhoun, Dijon Lee step into the game. They're more physical corners. But, I mean, honestly, could you ask for two better matchups leading up to Missouri than Georgia and Vanderbilt? Both outside zone run schemes, both back-to-back weeks. And you got to think about, Mizzou's coming off a bye. So that's obviously playing into that close number there. But also, Vanderbilt came off of Utah State. Georgia came off a bye. You're going three back-to-back-to-back, high-tier matchups, high outside zone schemes. So if there was any part of the schedule that you would want Mizzou, I would argue it's right now.
Yeah, dude. For me though, like I don't know. It's tough for me because looking at Alabama's schedule, Missouri is like we mentioned, they're a great running football team. But looking at their schedule, they got Tennessee, South Carolina, and LSU to follow them. Those are three teams right there that are the complete opposite of Missouri. They have basically no run game, and they're pass heavy. And now you got Missouri. So it's like, it kind of feels like a trap spot. Alabama coming off two big ranked wins. Now they got to go on the road to a Missouri team that's been very good. It seems like it's hard not to look ahead because, I mean, the strength with this SEC schedule, they got a pretty tough schedule because they're also got Oklahoma after LSU. This 5-game stretch, I mean, if you count the two games behind them, they have a tough 7-game stretch. And this is like entering the middle, the meat of it. And after this, it kind of like, I feel like Missouri, Vanderbilt, and Georgia were probably the three toughest teams. And then it eases up a little bit, even though they're not tough or not easy matchups. So it's like, I don't know. It does feel like a trap spot because it's hard for me to think that Alabama is going to win all these next 4 games. It's really hard, even though I do think they're the team to beat in the SEC. So if they do somehow pull out a victory here, I think I think they're honestly could win out because this is the toughest one. This is the toughest one. So if they can win, it's big.
I was talking to two people today. I said if Bama wins this game, I think they will be. I don't want to say they'll lift the trophy, but I think they'll be there because this, like you said, this is the toughest game. And one stat that I saw on Twitter today: no team or 4 teams ever in SEC history have won back-to-back-to-back ranked matchups ever. I mean, you got to think about that's crazy. 4 teams ever in the history of the SEC.
You said 4? 4
teams ever have ever won back-to-back-to-back ranked matchups. And that's like not including if there was a bye mixed in. So like back-to-back-to-back. So I mean those are the stats that keep the lights on in Vegas, and I think that's part of the reason the number is where it is. I think that 11 a.m. kickoff is going to be huge. I think if that's 6 p.m. it gets going. I think that plays into it also. You mentioned injuries. Quay Russaw is injured. He's out for foreseeable future. Maybe not the season, but he's one of those players who could get sideline to sideline. I think Justin Jefferson, he had a huge game last weekend. I think he's going to have to step up.
And obviously, like Ty Simpson. I mean, Ty Simpson's balling. You can argue he's the Heisman favorite behind a couple other guys. But, like, if they keep him in a clean pocket, he's going to pick the defense apart. Missouri's secondary is trash. But they do got a pretty good pass rush. I think their 2 defensive linemen are probably the 2 best in the SEC. That's their strength. But, I mean, when we talk like guys like Kalen Proctor, like, and I know Alabama's been shuffling guys at right guard. And are those guys going to hold up? That's going to be the key because if they can hold up, it's going to be a long day for Missouri. And I think Tyson's going to pick apart like the Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard. They're going to be feasting on that secondary. It's hard to imagine they don't get a lot of separation. So that's the key for Missouri on defense, in my opinion. It will be interesting to see.
I agree, and it's hard because Mizzou hasn't really played anybody. They got the 109th strength of schedule versus Alabama's 3rd. 109th is 4th lowest in Power 4, lowest in the SEC. Bama. Like I said, 3rd strength of schedule, but their run defense is no joke. Against South Carolina, held them to -9 rushing yards, and Kansas 31. And I think that's huge. If Bama can't get the running game going, like you said, that pass rush can be able to tee off. And Ty Simpson's held up so far, but the last thing you want to do is get behind on the road, having to come from behind. And Bama's had those issues in the last couple seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt, how do you feel about this Ty Simpson Heisman campaign? Do you think this is just another block in the road? What do you think about him?
I mean, it's he's done. He's the best Bama quarterback since Bryce Young for sure. He's better than Milrow. Milrow was the craziest athlete I've ever seen, but when Ty Simpson has the ball, you just feel so much better.
I'm taking Ty
Um,
Simpson over Milrow all
oh
day. I mean,
yeah.
Milrow
Oh
Yeah.
choked it. I shouldn't say he choked. He had some big moments,
no.
but
I
like,
mean,
He's
no.
just so
Yeah. All
physical.
the
He's so
losses last year,
physical.
Milrow gave the opponents at
exactly.
least 7 points, if not more. Against the
Mhm.
Oklahoma, he threw
Yeah.
two pick sixes. Michigan, he
Michigan,
gave
yeah,
them the ball
twice,
inside. Yeah,
twice
exactly.
against Michigan. Mhm.
Tennessee, he threw a pick on the goal line. I mean, you could just point to turnovers, and that's something Ty Simpson does so well. And I
Mhm.
think to your point, how you think you feel about the Heisman campaign, Joel Klatt made a comment today. If his name was Ty Manning, the conversation would be
Mhm.
over. He would be
Yeah.
like we would finish the ceremony today. And
Mhm.
I'm not saying like that's 100% true, but he's climbing up the big boards. Just before we hopped on, I saw on Twitter he's projected to go number 24 to the Rams, and I think that's low. I think he can soar up to a top 15, top 10 pick if he continues to throw the ball over the middle the way he does. I mean, some of the
Mhm.
throws he makes, I mean, he's picking apart cover two. He did it against Vanderbilt, um, and against Georgia also. He makes those hole shot throws, and it's impressive. I mean, it's something that you
Yeah.
don't really see too often in college, and it's super
Hmm.
exciting when he has the ball in his hands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's highlighting it, especially this QB class is looking like it's going to be very good. And the mock draft, if he's going to the Rams at the 23rd pick, it's just interesting to me because I still think that there's two quarterbacks better than them, and they're both playing in the same matchup, which we're going to get into a little bit from now. But staying on the Alabama for Missouri, one last point. I think this game, like I know we're talking about Alabama because obviously you're a Bama fan, and that's why we kind of wanted to get into it. But like, I think the story of this game is more towards Missouri in a sense because if Missouri wins this game, they're sneakily undefeated. And what does it look like for them in the SEC? Because they're looking at their schedule. They got Texas A&M at home, and then they got to go play Oklahoma. After that, like they're all pretty winnable games. Like this can be easily a playoff team, but this can be a team that low key competes for the SEC title if they beat Bama right here. It's a huge game. And looking at the quarterback, Bo Prabula, like I want to talk
I
about him
like
for a
him.
sec because he was a Penn
I
State
like him a
alumni.
lot.
Yeah, very mobile, can run the read option well. Like that plays in part why Missouri's run game is
Yeah.
goes very well. But look at him coming from Penn State. Like he was the backup there, goes to Missouri, is now cooking. What's that say about James Franklin and his development with Drew Aller? That's a topic for another day. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, dude, Missouri. If I'm a Missouri fan and I'm going to Missouri right now, like this is the biggest game of the year, in my opinion. I'm getting fired up. Like if I'm going there Saturday, I'm 12th man in that shit. Like I'm ready to go because if you win this game, the path to an SEC title is real.
Yeah, I
Biggest
agree.
game of like the near future. Like I don't remember another Mizzou game that mattered this much in recent
No,
history.
No,
no, not at all, dude. Like yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. It's gonna be a fun one, and I'm looking forward to it. But
it'll be, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's not the only big game of the day, too, though. We got moving to 3:30 on CBS. Game day is going out to Eugene for Oregon, Indiana. This is going to be very telling matchup. I mean, if you look at the spread
I
right now,
love it.
Oregon's -7.5. Off the bat, that seems a little low to me. I think that Oregon could win this game by 2, 3
Bro.
scores. I think they will win this game by 3 scores. Just because, like, I know Indiana's got a pretty high-powered offense. Like we were saying when we're talking NFL draft quarterbacks, you got Dante Moore, and you got Fernando Mendoza. Those are probably the two first quarterbacks off the board right now. You want to talk about
Hmm.
Heisman? They're the two leaders right now. Fernando Mendoza in Indiana's offense has been playing elite football. He's got great weapons, Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt. Like there's some pretty good studs, and they should have no problem, getting open on Oregon's offense, or Oregon's defense, sorry. But I gotta trust Lanning's defense, man. When I watched them play Penn State and completely rattle Drew Aller, you want to give Drew Aller all the shit in the world, but you go into the Penn State whiteout and shut out that offense like that, that says something right there. And now you got to go. Now Indiana's got to go all the way to Eugene. Tough environment. I've seen people say that Eugene and I forget the name of the stadium as Azteca.
Austin,
Awesome.
Austin.
Yeah, my bad. I've seen people say that stadium is tougher to play in than the whiteout. I don't know if that's true, but it's a pretty hot, like it's a very hostile environment. I don't see how Indiana goes in there and beats it. I think it's going to be a lot like the playoff game last year we saw. They're going to go into a hostile environment like Notre Dame and just get absolutely boat race, even though they got all this hype in them. I know they're getting the starting quarter. They're one of their top cornerbacks coming back this week. He's healthy. But, dude, it's hard for me to imagine that they actually pull off an upset here.
Take it away, Frank. I saw you were a little shaking your head when
Yeah.
Sam said 2 or 3 scores.
I get jitty just thinking about Mendoza, bro. Like, I'm a Jets fan too, so I want him to fall into my lap. I'm rooting for us to lose right now. I love Mendoza. I know we talked about Jasper, one of our Holtz's old teammate. One of my teammates, Jasper, loves Mendoza. I'm a Mendoza guy. I think he picks apart this defense. I think they're on their hangover watch after Penn State. I think that was the game of their life. I think this Oregon team is good. Before this Penn State game, I didn't even think of them as a great threatening type, I don't know, contender team. I don't know. I think them beating a Penn State team during the whiteout puts them under the spotlight, similar to how we had the Saints this week over the Giants. I think all like the non-sharps are all over Oregon right now. I'm all over Indiana. I don't know if they're going to win outright, but I think they keep it close.
Dude, I also want to mention Fernando Mendoza. I'm not doubting him. He is a very good player. I'm a believer in him. I thought what we saw from the Illinois game was very telling him how good he was. But this Oregon defense has seen crazy offenses before. This is the same unit that's seen guys like Michael Penix and Caleb Williams. It's not like this West Coast defense is not ready for these guys. It's just, dude, going up to Eugene, it's a whole different environment. I don't see how Indiana can go in there and beat it. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the first thing I want to say is you have to remember, I mean, granted, this was last year, but Ohio State's 1 of 2 losses came in Autzen Stadium. That place is legit. I've heard some crazy sick stories about that. I heard it's one of the loudest and it doesn't get enough hype and recognition. And going off of that, I don't know how people aren't remembering a couple weeks ago, Indiana squeaked out of Kinnick, Iowa with a W. They were losing. They were kicking a field goal. I was kicking a field goal to go up 3 with less than 2 minutes left, and they missed the kick. I mean, if you go out of there, what are we saying about Indiana right now? We're saying there's no way they're getting out of here with the 2-score win. And I think that UCLA win over Penn State just emphasizes the fact that it's any given Saturday, but I think that to Sam's point, to any credit, that Penn State win, you don't go into white out Penn State and get a win. You have to be a special team to do that. The Ohio States, the Michigans are the only teams that ever do that. And Indiana squeaked out of Iowa City. No disrespect to Iowa at all. I think Kinnick's a really tough place to play, but if you think Kinnick is tough, wait till you go into Autzen 2:30. That's a different animal. That's a different beast. I mean,
100%.
I don't know. It could be close, but I don't see it. I think Oregon wins this handedly, and I think it really asks questions. Who's going to be that second, third team up? Not second, third, fourth team up in the Big Ten after this week.
Yeah, no discredit to Nico or any of them at UCLA. I think that game showed that Penn State are just frauds. Like, it doesn't matter who's in the stadium. At the end of the day, you got to play a football game, right? Like, Sam, you were there, and it was loud. Yeah. But
dude,
I think that Penn State team is that bad. They're that bad.
I think
James Franklin is that bad.
Bro, I hate to sound like I'm a defender of Penn State because I'm not a Penn State fan. I'm sure a lot of people watch this content and think I'm a Penn State glazer. I promise you, I'm not. But because I feel like I'm always defending them. But dude, you watch that UCLA game. UCLA played the most perfect football game I have ever seen. They brought in the new offensive coordinator. They had two days to master that game plan, and they just completely shocked Penn State. I mean, it's tough to prepare for that. Penn State's off that brutal hangover. They got punched in the mouth by Oregon. But Nico Iamaleava played lights out football. I don't think he missed a throw, killing them with his legs. They could not contain him. Nico, that is what we thought Nico was going to do all season for UCLA. Maybe this new scheme is going to put him in that position for the rest of the year. But dude, UCLA bought out, and don't act like Drew Aller didn't drop 37 points,
35,
35 points. Drew Aller still played very well football. It's tough to really reach your true potential when you don't get the ball until you're down 10 points. He's playing from behind all day, so it was already tough on him. And I think the game was more on Franklin. Franklin, especially after that loss, bro, you got to go. You can't get stomped like that to the worst team. And this was a team that lost to Northwestern. Dude, this is you can't let that happen. Can't let that happen.
And I think I think donors need to step up to get
Mhm.
Franklin out of there. Because how much do they have to buy out his contract?
It's like
Yeah, I don't know the number.
60, right?
Is it? I thought I was gonna say
it could
45. It could be
that could be
60.
wrong.
It's
I
something
thought I saw
ridiculous.
something
We'll
60,
say,
but
yeah, like 50 to 60 range. Donors
yeah.
gotta step up. Yeah, I can't watch another season of him under center. Like,
No, that shit's brutal. It's
I
like
can't.
brutal. They got all the talent in the world. Drew Aller is an NFL quarterback. You watch the throws he makes. He's an NFL quarterback. And like we just said, you watch Bo Perbula go to Missouri, and now he's cooking. Like, what
Yeah.
does that say about Franklin and his quarterback development? It's on him. I don't know if it's just Franklin. Maybe they got some shitty QB coaches, and you can't. I mean, you can't fault their strengths. I can't
Yeah.
even speak right now. Their strength training,
Yeah.
because they
Look at Nate
produce NFL
Singleton.
talent all the time. Look at
Yeah.
Singleton.
Look at Saquon. All those
We can
guys. Like,
rattle
it's
off all of
ridiculous.
them, but
Yeah. Warren.
it's more of a fine tuning. The actual mechanics is the issue with Penn State. I mean, you can get big, you can get fast, you can strong, but like when you go to the next level, you got to fine tune those mechanics. And Drew Aller just has not. And I think that goes to show on the coaching staff. If Drew Aller played in the SEC, I think he'd be the best quarterback in the nation. Because if he goes and plays for someone like Alabama, if he goes and plays someone like Georgia, and they develop him right, he's the best quarterback in the nation. He's got the tools to do it, but Penn State's holding him back.
Yeah.
But all
I think
right,
that's the perfect way to move on.
that's enough Penn State talk. They got Northwestern this week. They're 21-point favorites. If somehow they lose that game, then we'll be having some real conversations. But all right, yeah. So next, I wanted to get into the Red Rivalry, Oklahoma, Texas. Big game for Arch Manning here, right? Like, had two pretty poor performances as what it looked like in the box score against Florida and against Ohio State to open the year. So now he finally gets a shot to rewrite the narrative in a sense against his rival Oklahoma. What off the bat are you guys watching for in this one? I got my take that I want to give, but what stands out to you in this matchup?
Matt, you want this or?
You got it first.
All right, mine's
Go
plain
for
and
it, Frank.
simple. I think this is his last straw. Like, this is Arch Manning's last straw. This is his chance to beat his rival. Like, I know Texas, they had all these hopes and promises. Go beat your rival. Go beat, if you can't do anything else, go beat your rival. And some people will mark that as a win. I won't personally, after AP preseason #1 overall team, Texas, like the Manning name. I know he has a lot of stress. I know he has a lot of weight on his shoulders the same way
Yeah.
Aller does. I know you guys heard them chanting like Drew Aller sucks after every game, like whatever.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
this is Manning's last chance to get people on his side because I think after this it's gonna be hard to defend the guy. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah. I don't know. I think Texas gets it done, whether Mateer plays or not. And I know that's on the fence. I think Venables in the post-game practice media today said he hasn't get any good on good reps, so that means he hasn't practiced yet. But I think right now Texas favored by 1.5. I think
Yeah.
Josh Pate posted that. That's assuming Mateer plays. If it's not, he said that it's going to go up to 5.5 on FanDuel.
Yeah.
And I think either way they get it done. I think Sark said it best when it was there's 135 teams in FBS. How many are going into the shoe against probably the best team in the nation, Ohio State getting a win, and then also going to Florida, literally nothing to lose, back against the wall. That's when a team's the most dangerous and getting a win in the swamp. I mean, they haven't played a tough game at home. You got to give Arch a shot. I know it's technically a neutral site, but it's in Dallas. This is his first home chance. I think Texas gets it done, and I think the biggest thing I'm looking for is that O-line's got to hold up. I think they allowed 7 sacks, and I think Oklahoma sacked Auburn, Jackson Arnold 10 times. If they hold up, I think Texas gets it done, and I wouldn't be shocked if they get it done handedly. I think they come to play, and Texas is to that point now. They're dangerous. They can't. You got nothing to lose. If you lose, the season's over. I mean, I know that's a shitty way to put it, but you got nothing to lose. This is your first chance in a rivalry game. He's all hyped up. I forget who they were playing, but he did that cringy ass celebration. When he scored against Sam Houston, I think it was.
Sam
Now I can't
Houston,
remember.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is your time. I mean, I think to Frank's point, you got to show up. It's that last straw. I remember Arch last week. It was like 4th and something. They put in the backup, and I saw clips on Twitter. There's like, keep him in, keep the backup in. the fans want something different. But I think
Mhm.
this is the last straw, and I think he answers the bell. I think, everyone's low on Texas. I think they finally answer the bell, and I wouldn't be shocked if it's handedly also.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude. This matchup. It's hard for me to really think that Texas will win. Like you talk about all them being at home, backs against the wall in a sense, and I want to think that they're going to bounce back against the rival and get this huge win, and Arch Manning is going to have this great game and finally prove all the narratives wrong. But when I watch the highlights and the tape from the last couple games in Texas, it is hard for me to imagine that they can actually beat this Oklahoma team. I think that if John Mateer plays, they're not winning. I think if he doesn't play, Texas should win. If they don't, there's got to be some serious conversations on Sarkisian because Arch Manning is getting thrown under the bus like no other. Obviously, we all know he came to the season with a ton of expectations. The hype was through the roof. And now that he's not living up to them, everyone's completely shitting on him. But to his defense, that offensive line is garbage. They do not have the athleticism up front to compete with these SEC D lines. They have no run game. If you watch the run game, it is consistent 1 yard gains, 2 yard gains, 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10. Arch has no fucking shot. No shot. You can't put any quarterback. Texas fans are saying that they want Quinn Ewers back in. Quinn Ewers was thrown behind 2 NFL first-round draft picks. Arch's O-line is dog shit, and that goes on Sarkisian for not getting some more O-line talent in the portal. Also, he's still working out with his receivers. Like, he's thrown into a pretty shitty situation. I'm not going to get it wrong. Now, he's not completely off the hook. He's missing some wide open receivers. He's missing some basic pass concepts. But he makes throws and he's that make you turn your head and say, okay, yeah, this is why he had all this hype. And he's also using his legs very well. So I can't put all the hate on Arch Manning, but here's the problem. He's going up against an Oklahoma defense that is #1 in the country in sacks. They lead the nation in third down conversion rate, and they lead the nation in most forced punts. This Oklahoma defense is legit. It's going to be probably the toughest. I shouldn't say the toughest. Ohio State is the toughest, but it's going to be tougher than Florida. In my opinion, it's going to be tougher than Florida. And if John Mateer plays, I don't see how they really keep up. I know Texas defense is legit. They got good secondary, but you saw Florida run the ball all over them. So lucky for. I'm going to take a step back though, because Oklahoma's running backs are also very slow. And they're not very good. So I don't know. I don't think Oklahoma's going to have the same success against as Florida's run game did. But still, with John Mateer making the plays that he can, it's hard for me to think that they can keep the pace up with him. And even though they got the home field advantage, even though they're got their backs against the wall, it's really hard for me to think they will keep up the pace if Mateer plays. And again, like you said, like everyone's been saying, Arch Manning, this is a huge game for him. But dude, the way that offensive line is set up, the play calling, the run game, dude, it's tough. It's tough for him to get a huge win like this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it will be very interesting. But yeah, so that's the red rivalry there. Late night when you look at the slate, another SEC game that I wanted to get into was LSU in South Carolina. Now, off the bat, these are two teams that came in with the highest hopes for on offense, have not lived up to the expectations. I think both of that goes to show that they also have no run game. Like you look at LSU and Garrett Nussmeier, I still think LSU has a chance to win a national title. I'm still standing on that. They were my preseason pick to win the national championship. I still think they can. They just got to establish the run game. Like you look at Caleb Durham is back healthy, so he's going to be there. Hopefully they can get a spark on offense finally. But they're asking Garrett Nussmeier to drop back too many times, and they have no play action game to really push the ball downfield. That's why they're not getting anything going. And how are they going to respond after this Ole Miss loss? I think they got to come out blazing. They're facing a South Carolina team that, frankly, will not get any separation against those DBs. LSU's defense is so good. Their DBs are probably the best in the SEC. They're going to be locked down. You got Harold Perkins at linebacker, which is a great matchup against Lenore Sellers because he plays quarterback spy like no other guy. He's going to be keyed on Lenore Sellers. I know Sellers plays hero ball. He's a great athlete. It's tough to guard him. But if there's one defense that can really contain him, it's LSU. So it's up to Garrett Nussmeier on this offense to get the running game going. They're coming off a bye week, coming off hungry after the Ole Miss loss. If Brian Kelly wasn't establishing that in practice the past 2 weeks, I don't know what he was doing. But I think this is a great game for LSU to come back, make a statement, and make that title run.
Yeah, I agree with you. And when I look at this, I love Beamer way more than I love Brian Kelly. I know we've talked about Brian Kelly. He can't win the big game. Is this a big game? Like, I guess. If you're LSU, is this a big game? I guess it is. But is it compared to 3, 4 other games on your schedule? No, it's really not. I think both teams are good buy low candidates. I like LSU in this one just because of the defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think LSU probably wins. I wouldn't be shocked if South Carolina kept it close just because coming off the
Mhm.
bye. I think they're I think they're talented, but like you said, I think Harold Perkins is I love him. I think he's probably one of the best defenders in the whole country. He is wicked fast and he has the size of the linebacker. I mean, he is a linebacker, but he is wicked fast. And I think if you want anyone keeping up with Norris Sellers, it's Harold Perkins. Um, I just feel so bad for South Carolina. I mean, preseason 13, and you
Mhm.
got this absolute gauntlet: LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. I mean, how's that even fair? These
Yeah.
next 5 weeks.
It's
I mean, if I'm Shane
yeah.
Beamer, all I'm really saying is you can't win all five if you don't win the first one. And
Mhm.
I mean, you got to go out there at Death Valley. Only like great teams go in there and win. And right now South Carolina's not a great team. So I think LSU gets it done, but I wouldn't be shocked if South Carolina kept it close. I probably think it's a low scoring game, just based on what I'm seeing. And I don't know. I mean, LSU's going to win the game, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't be shocked if it's close.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, late night SEC battle. It's going to be a fun one to watch. But like we said in the beginning, this is a stacked college football slate. I know from podcast perspective, we're running a little low on time. So how about we do a little speed round? Get your guys' takes on who you guys think is going to win, or I should say, cover the spread. So why don't we start with Ohio State, Illinois, real quick speed round. We got Ohio State minus 14.5. Does Illinois cover?
I
I
like
don't think
Ohio
so.
State.
I
I'm not an
agree. I
Illinois
mean,
guy.
you just can't set a number high enough. I mean, I feel like every
Hmm.
week you're like, oh, Washington, they're going to keep it close at home. Minnesota, oh, that's too big of a number. I don't think you could set a number high enough. I think they're just too good defensively. They get the ball inside the 10 and Ohio State just makes a stop. It's
Yeah.
it's utterly ridiculous. They're the best team and until proven differently, they're going to be that number one team.
100%. That's the big noon kickoff game right there. Next, we got Florida State versus Pitt. Can Florida State bounce back after 2 consecutive losses? They are 10-point favorites at home. This should be a blowout, right?
It should
You would
be.
think,
It
yeah.
should. It should be. I don't think Pitt's a good football team.
3-2 right now.
I I would think like off the dome, I would put that spread at 14 points. I wonder why it's closer to 10. That
Yeah.
makes me suspicious.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I probably would stay away from it, but I would think Florida State's way better at home coming off a loss at Miami, like or against Miami. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Next, we got 3:30 ESPN. Iowa State is only a 2-point favorite over Colorado on the road. Iowa State was undefeated. They had their first loss against Cincinnati last week. I know they got a ton of injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But you look at someone like Rocco Becht, he's a stud at quarterback, right? But Colorado being only a 2-point underdog, are we seeing an upset brewing here?
I mean, it's just one of those where it's like, why is it the way it is? And usually, when
Mhm.
something doesn't smell right, there's a reason for it.
Mhm.
They played TCU pretty close, and I think they had the early lead. They just gave it away. I didn't watch too much into it, but I wouldn't be shocked. This is a letdown spot for Iowa State. I could see Colorado winning this game.
Yeah, 100%. Next, we got 415 SEC Network. We got the Vols. Shout out Luca here. They're only 11-point favorites over Arkansas. We just watched Arkansas get absolutely boat raced by Notre Dame. That's an interesting one. Like, dude, Arkansas's
Yeah.
offense doesn't seem good. What does that say about Tennessee's defense? Like, are we seeing a shootout here? I don't know.
I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think so. I like that. What do you think, Matt?
I think Arkansas keeps it close. There's a lot of things playing into this that, behind the scenes. Uh, like you said, I don't know, you didn't say it, but Sam Pittman just got fired, new interim head coach. That usually fires it up, as you saw in UCLA win over Penn State off a bye. Um, Tennessee's got a look ahead spot, 2/3 Saturday on October at Alabama next week. And Arkansas is sneaky good at running the football. And Tennessee's defense is not good at run defense. I know they're supposed to get, two guys back in the D line, but this smells fishy to me. I wouldn't be shocked if this is close going into the fourth quarter here.
Yeah, I would not be shocked either. I mean, when you look at Tennessee's defense, I mean, we were at the Tennessee-Georgia game. Obviously, Georgia's a good offense, but they let up a ton of explosive runs to Georgia, especially being at home. So, yeah, I don't know how much I can trust that defense. Next, we got another SEC matchup. Does Florida keep their little winning streak going against the number 5 ranked team in the country, Texas A&M? Texas A&M is a 7-point favorite at home.
Yeah, I'm all over him. I don't like Florida. I have it. We were off Florida before the season started. I think they're the only team with the harder SEC schedule than South Carolina. I think, yeah, Aggies all day.
Yeah, I think this is the Aggies' game to lose. They got everything they want right in front of them, and this would just be such a letdown. And I think Florida, you're buying them high right now. Um, I mean, College Station's a really tough place to play, especially at night. I think Marcel Reed and the Aggies get it done.
Yeah, I'm going to take a little opposition here. I think this could be the Florida. Like, Florida was a good team. They got a good defense. And this could be the little winning streak that they're going. I know DJ Lagway came out the other week and said that this offense, he feels like this offense is about to click. You can't deny some of the flashes he's shown last year. And he played pretty decent against a good Texas secondary. So who knows? Maybe this is the turning point they needed, and they'll get on and get that big upset. They're only a 7-point dog, like I mentioned. So anything can happen any given Saturday. Next, we got Georgia Auburn. Georgia is -3.5. This is the late game of the week, basically, on ABC. Georgia Auburn. Auburn, when you look at Auburn, I don't know how much I can trust Jackson Arnold. I know he's not a good passer. I watched that Baylor game opening night, and that's like, dude, if you contain him, it's game over, in my opinion. I think Gunnar Stockton's a very good quarterback.
Yeah.
Prior to what a lot of people thought coming into the year, and he can push the ball downfield. So I think Georgia handles this game with ease. 3.5-point favorite is a little sus, though. I think that's just the classic home game trap, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely suspicious. I like Stockton. He's got the experience. He's been around the block. I like him in this game. You know, Arnold can't get the ball down the field, and it's hard to drive down the field when you can't establish the pass. So I think if Georgia goes up early, it is just going to stay in their favor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Let's,
I'm actually gonna go the other way. I think Auburn, I'm not sure they win, but I think this is one of those like what can you lose? You're 3-2. I know that's we say that 3-2, you got a winning record, but a third loss essentially eliminates you from everything that you want.
yeah.
Hugh Freeze, I think Hugh Freeze gets fired potentially even after the game if they lose this in Jordan Hare Stadium. And I know that's a crazy take, but if not after the game, Hugh Freeze will be fired at the end of the season. If he loses this game, it's off a bye, Jordan Hare Stadium, swag surfing, it's going to be rocking. Like you said, it's hard to establish the pass. Lucky enough, Georgia has 2 sacks all season, and they came last week against Kentucky. That's the biggest struggle versus Auburn. I think Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton get going. I think Auburn keeps it close in this one. I'm not sure they win because Kirby just finds a way to win these absolute gutsy wins, but I
Right.
think Auburn potentially keeps it close and maybe even wins.
Yeah, definitely. 2 more games I want to touch on. Michigan, USC. Michigan going on the road. Bryce Underwood has been the freshman sensation. I've liked what I've seen from him so far. They just got to win against Wisconsin. But like we talked about, was it really that impressive? Is Justice Haynes kind of carrying this offense? But look at USC. They got a pretty high-powered offense themselves, and being 2.5-point favorites, sounds like they're gonna get that win there. But any takes off the bat right there?
What do you think, Matt? It's hard
I've
for
seen
me to
it.
go against the home team here across country with the
Yeah,
freshman quarterback. I don't know how he's going to handle the
yeah.
football on the road. We'll see.
I was downplaying Underwood, but I've seen this so many times with Michigan over the past 2 or 3 seasons where they're in such a close spread. They just find a way to win. They're just such a good defensive team. I think Justin, they're so good at, getting the running backs one-on-one in space. And I haven't watched a lot of USC football, but I wouldn't be shocked if Michigan pulls this out also.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in Michigan. I think they had a nice road test against Oklahoma, which they lost, but they know how to play in hostile environments. Bryce Underwood is very accustomed to that now, especially with 2 games. They also had a close game against Nebraska, which they ended up pulling out the victory. So I think he's not going to be overwhelmed by this environment. I think that, I mean, does USC even have a really good environment anyways? I mean, do fans even go to their games? Like,
It's better than
yes.
UCLA, but I don't think by much.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I
Right.
think Bryce Underwood gets the win there. But last game is a little Big 12 matchup. This could low key be the Big 12 game of the year right here. We got Arizona State against Utah. Utah had a lot of high hopes coming in. They had a brutal loss to Texas Tech that kind of put them back down to earth. That Utah offense in that Texas Tech game looked brutal. Devin Dampier was a dark horse Heisman candidate until that game. He literally cannot move the football at all. But Arizona State, I watched Arizona State play TCU on Friday night the other week. And, dude, it's tough to not love what Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson are doing, dude. They are balling. I think Jordan Tyson is probably the best receiver in the country over Jeremiah Smith. And, dude, this Arizona State defense, they played pretty well. They got some good DBs. So I think they do go on the road and pull off an upset. Any thoughts on that one?
I think Levitt's going to sling it. What's the spread on that game?
It is Utah -5.5.
Okay. Yeah.
Utah being at home.
Fuck it. Let's take an underdog. Yeah. ASU. Let's go. I love Levitt. I've loved him all season. Let's take him.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Big 12 ball, but that number is too high for me. And usually when it's too high against such a good team, they just find a way to put up points. And I'm going to take Utah on that one.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. But yeah, that wraps it up for this slate. Like we said, going to be an exciting week of college football, especially Saturday. Like we mentioned, we're probably going to get on some NFL later in the week, so stay tuned to that. But Matt, thank you for joining. I thought you provided a lot of good analysis into some SEC balls. So as always, Frank, why don't you
yeah,
you
as always, you don't know ball, but we do.
Yes, sir.